Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson here, and I'm here to bring you your video for our learning target of special functions learning target. So up the top of the page, just one thing that is a good thing to understand, especially in this chapter, and especially really in all of Algebra 2, is that you guys need to start figuring out or being able to look at an equation and figure out what type of equation it is. You need to be able to tell the difference between having a linear, having a step function, having an absolute value function, having a constant, an identity, just by looking at the graph and by looking at the data. Linear we're very familiar with. Linear is going to be anything that makes a line. It's these other ones that start to look a little different. So we're going to talk about some of these today, and this video I'm going to focus on the step function. So let's take a look at the first example. The first example talks about a mailbox weighing the cost of um, mailing a letter. When we're mailing a letter, it's obviously the cost of our postage is going to be dependent on how much the letter weighs. So if you look at this little table here, if it says the weight not over 1 ounce, so that means anything up to 1 ounce is going to be 39 cents. Anything up to 2 ounces is going to be 63 cents. Anything up to 3 ounces. So if we were to draw a rough sketch of this graph here, of what this might look like. When I'm at 0 to 1 ounce, I'm at 39 cents. So 0 to 39 cents, we'll say 0. Obviously, you're not going to mail a letter that's 0 ounces. So over at 1 ounce, I have a filled in point here, and anything in between there is going to be 39 cents. But once I get to 2 ounces, I need to go up, or I'm sorry, once I'm over 1 ounce and all the way up to 2 ounces, I need to go up to 63 cents. So at 1 ounce, I have an open circle because at 1 ounce I'm still at 39 cents, but I need to go up to the 2 ounces and have a filled in circle. This is what yields a step function to us, and it's called a step function just because of what it looks like. It looks like stairs. If we were to keep going, we'd have another stair there and then another stair there. What this is saying is that even if your letter is 1.1 ounces, it's going to be 63 cents. Even if it's 1.5 ounces, it's going to be 63 cents. If it were 1.9 ounces, it's going to be 63 cents. So anything that's between 1 and up all the way up to 2 is going to be 63 cents. So then that's going to be our answer to the second part. What would be a 1.5 ounce letter? It would be 63 cents. Okay, so step functions. A step function is also often referred to as the greatest integer function, greatest integer. And that's what this symbol means. This double bracket that's going on here means that we're looking for the greatest integer that is less than the number between it. Means the greatest integer less than or equal to x. So when you look at a step function, one way you can determine that it's a step function is because of all these intervals here. The interval of x is -3 to -2. Then the next interval, -2 to -1, then the next interval, -1 to 0, and so on. So all of these intervals have a different integer value. Oh, I forgot to answer the very first question. The very first question was, is this a linear function? When we look at the step function, we have gaps in here. There's a whole gap in between this, so this ends up not being linear. And the reason why is because there's gaps in the data, gaps in the values. It doesn't make a line here. And that's what we can see from this table. Just thinking back to inequalities, a circle means that an open circle means that the point is not included, and a filled in circle means that it is included, and we've known that from inequalities in the past. So let's just look at a brief example of um, this. If I were to look at the greatest integer that is less than or equal to 7.3, the greatest integer would be 7. So that 7.3 would fit in the 7 to 8 category, but it would have an answer of 7. Just like anything in the 3 to 4 category has an answer of 3. If I were to look at -2.4, the greatest integer below that, because keep in mind you're looking at less than, is -3, because you got to think on the negative side we're going to the left, the next integer to the left is -3. So let's just do a quick example of step functions today. It says the No Leaks R Us Plumbing Company charges $60 per hour or any fraction thereof for labor. Complete the table and graph the function where X is the number of hours and labor and C of X is the total cost. So basically what they're saying is that the plumbing company may show up and they may get the job done in 20 minutes, but even though the job only took them 20 minutes and didn't take them a whole hour, they're still going to charge you $60. Just for coming out to the house, they're going to charge you 60 bucks. So any time between 0, no time at all, and all the way up to 1 is going to be $60. As soon as I jump into the 1 hour time frame and I go up to the 2, now I'm looking at $120. Okay. And then from there on out, we can keep going. If I go up from 2 to 3, it should be $180. So even if it's 2.5 hours and I didn't go all the way up to that third mark, they're still going to charge you $180 because it's any fraction thereof as well. Going 3 all the way up to 4, they're going to charge $240. And then 4 all the way up to 5 hours is going to be $300. So let's take a look at what this graph would look like. Now you need to draw this coordinate plane on your notes. It's not on there for you. So just draw yourself you only need the first quadrant because we're talking about time and money, and time and money can't be negative. So here's our time down here. Here's our money up here. And we're going to draw a graph for this. So from 0 to up to 1 hour, I'm at $60. So that means at 0, I have a filled in dot. Up to 1 hour, I'm at $60. Then I jump a step. I go all the way up to 120 there. So from 1 hour all the way up to 2, it's going to be 120. Then I jump a step again from 2 hours all the way up to 3, it's going to be 180. Jump a step again from 3 hours all the way up to 4. It's going to be 240, and then jump one more step. We actually need one more line up here for the 300. For 300, I'd have the 4th hour all the way up to the 5th. So that's my step function for this No Leaks R Us Plumbing Company. And basically what that's saying is that there's no charges in between 60 and 120. If the job takes an hour and 10 minutes, they're going to charge you 120 bucks. Even though it's only 10 minutes over that hour, it's still into the next step. Okay, so step functions. There's breaks between the data, gaps between the data. Okay, we're going to stop the video there for today, and we'll finish up the back page of the notes tomorrow. Have a great night, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to hop back and take your Schoology quiz.